Hello YouTube, this is Elfire once again with another Goo guide video. This time we'll be talking about Mother Paths and how to do. So I'm making this video because a lot of players, especially newer ones, don't understand which way moms go or why. And this can make it difficult for new Goo players who just waste their time on their moms going to different locations. And it can be really difficult for non-Goo players because they don't know where to look for moms. Now, this should hopefully bring you to a point where you can figure it out. Obviously, there will be new maps, different maps by the time you get to this video. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain why we do different things, well, different paths, and hopefully you can kind of understand from there. And then later in the video, I'll go on to do different maps that are frequently played currently. I'm actually going to see if I have any replays of Goo versus Goo. Not really. Does not look like it. That's okay. We can do... we'll just do it. That's fine. So we are gonna start off with Barca's Bayou in alphabetical order here. Set the AI to idle so I don't have to deal with it. Now, the goal, because in QuickScript 0.5, which is what we're all currently playing on, is to get your moms harvesting as often as you can, because what they do is they go over a spigot, they collect the resources, and they process it over time, which you'll see as an orange bar while you're playing. Now, it's good to have your orange bar always being processed for as long as you can while your mom is running around the map. Now, a spigot will reappear once that initial orange bar is gone. So if you have a mom sitting in one spigot, they will always constantly be mining, but they won't build up their orange stuff. So if they ever need to move off, they'll eventually not be harvesting anything, if that makes sense. Now in QuickScript, you get another mom for free as soon as you complete your first full bar. That can make it really difficult to get perfect mining for both moms. In fact, it's not realistic. So your goal is to just min-max this, or in other words, make it so you lose as little mining time on your extra mom as possible. Which is obviously much easier said than done and would require a little bit of practice. But hopefully I can get a good example going for you here. So let's get started on Barca's Bayou. This map isn't played very frequently, and it's not very good for Goo because of the spigot paths. But we're gonna go ahead and give it a shot anyway. This is a really bad first example for spigot paths, but I decided to do it in alphabetical order so I wouldn't forget any maps. Of course, Grey Goo decided to stop working. There it goes. So on this map, the paths to the spigots are all way too long for a mom to get a full mining. So the best thing you can do is go for a spigot that's near a cliff, like these down here, or this one, or these over here. These center spigots, while plentiful, leave you very vulnerable. So on this map, it's just not great for Goo. but I'm gonna demonstrate anyway. Now, there are 3 paths you can take, none of which are great. Here we go. So as soon as I start off, I'm gonna go to the nearest spigot, right here, which is already a lot of wasted mining time just because of the spawn. That's all right. And I'm, for the first path, immediately gonna go towards this spigot. And once this orange bar is full, I'll get a free mom. Now, to make sure we waste as little mining time as possible, I'm going to go straight to this spigot. Right there, and click here. And if you saw, I clicked right as it hit 37, so this mom would continue mining and go straight down, while this mom goes back to the other spigot. Now I'm going to immediately click to the next spigot at the bottom here. As soon as they pick it up, right before they pick it up, you can actually click away because the momentum will carry your mom a tiny bit forward. And then you can have a mom sit here and patrol like this. So you press and hold Shift D, click right next to the spigot on either side, and right click. Now this mom will slowly build up resources because she'll be collecting from both spigots. So her orange will slowly build up. See how she just barely tags it and goes back? Now, where you click with this, the center of the mom is what stops at these points. So the tip right here will pick it up, and then she'll go back. Now, I can do it a little bit tighter if I wanted to. Probably right around here. And it'll just barely tag it, so she goes a little bit faster. But it doesn't really matter when you're in game. Just get the patrol path going. And you can always have a mom sit like this as well. Well, not terribly efficient, because when you need to get a new mom, for example, right here, I can't go anywhere without her losing money. Now here, I can have a mom go there, because it's the closest spigot. Use the V key to rally. So this mom immediately goes towards the newest spigot. And this mom will, because she has orange collected, can actually immediately go straight up to this spot on the left. And then this new mom begins patrolling, just like the old one. So now she's going to build up. And this one has a lot extra ready and waiting to go. They'd have more if I was actually making things. But yeah. So this mom now has enough orange resources or catalyst built up, getting refined to where she can go. So this path is the best path in my opinion on this map, because it's very difficult for people to harass you here on this cliff. You can always go straight up and across, or you can go down towards your other mom where you can have units rallied, right, if something appears over here. So this is okay. This is acceptable. Not great. You lose a tiny bit of mining time, but I'm pretty okay with it. So let's go ahead and look at the second path. Restart doesn't work with QuickScript, unfortunately, so it takes a while here. So let's go ahead and take a look with the second possible path. Barca's Bayou. And we're going to set the AI to idle. And we're just going to make sure we go to the same spawn point, just to make sure it's less confusing. Because on this map, all 4 spawn points are the same, just a different direction. And we're loading. And we're loading. Alrighty, so on this path, we're going to have the mom go straight to the corner spigot because, again, it's the closest spigot. It's the one we need to go to. And she's going to go straight to this one because it's the only one remotely close enough to make sure that she continues collecting catalyst to keep refining. Now, what I'm actually going to do is click right here to maximize the value of this mom. And she's immediately going to path up, and this mom is going to go back. Because it might seem like she'll get just as much resources going here. She actually gets a tiny bit more by going back. Like, I'm saying, like, 1 or 2 seconds, if that. And then immediately, as soon as she picks it up, go back. And this mom can just sit here. Because there's bush here, cliff, faraway cliff, which is okay. This is the other start you can go for. You just have them sit here. This does leave you vulnerable to the scouts that go down the middle. It's not too frequently you'll see that happen, because if a scout decides to run across the bottom, they always go through the bottom. If the scout decides to run through the right, they always run through the right to look for you. So this is greedy in the sense that there is no defensible formation in the center because of how far away the bushes are. But it is the best way to not get scouted right away. Because what you can do is, as soon as the mom goes from the corner to here, you have her go up. I mean the second mom. From the corner to here, you have her go up. And then this mom immediately goes to the center. And it is actually, I made a mistake here. It's better when this bar is 1.5 full to immediately begin pathing up. Because then you can have the other mom immediately start farming. There we go. And then we have 2 for this mom, so I'm actually going to have her rally the new mom back. Have that mom stay there, and this mom stay here. And this is the second path for Goo on Barca's Bayou. But again, usually right around this point of the game, if you're not in your corner starting spawn, the scouts have likely checked 2 or 3 corners, so they'll know you're not in the corners anymore. And it's more than likely that another scout is going to be running down the middle somewhere, because your opponent will start getting units out by the time you reach 4 moms. But if you can get to 4 moms, right, and you can start making small proteins to defend yourself, you're sitting really good in every matchup. Alright, but that is path number 2 on Barca's Bayou. We're gonna jump back in for the third and final path. And make sure we're in the corner. Here you go. Now, again, they have to go straight down to the corner because it is the closest spigot to your spawn, and you have to start farming immediately to get the second mom out. And this is a very unusual path. It's rather greedy because, well, you can do the corner thing. I don't like doing it. By corner thing, I mean going to this spigot on the left. I don't like doing it because then it's a long distance path to these center spigots. This spigot goes, this mom goes back, this mom continues up. And then she immediately goes to this spigot up here. Now, if your opponent didn't spawn up here and didn't scout down here, this is the safest mom you can have right here, because nobody will ever scout this. Now, that's a little exaggerated because for some reason they might scout it, right? But they shouldn't, because it's a pretty massive waste of time to have a random unit run over here when you're likely in the middle. So if you're trying to be sneaky about it, this is a path you can go for. I don't recommend it because you lose so much mining time. And these spigots, there's only 3 spigots on the right or left side. And you lose a lot of mining time. Because look, this mom's going to be full. And let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or so seconds of not mining. And this mom is immediately going to be ready for another mom. So what we're going to do is, because I am very communist, we'll share the no mining time between these moms. There you go. Have that mom immediately move up. This mom goes back to the spigot. But again, losing a lot of mining time for both moms because we're not able to patrol between any 2 points. But this is it. From here, you can go to this corner. You can always move to the center, but that's again a very long distance. I would suggest going for these for your next expansions. And of course, you can go to these once you have those. It really depends on where your opponent spawns. If they spawn up here and you go this path, you want to go for these. If they spawn down here, you want to go up for these. This is the path you want to take if you are worried about early harass because it takes a long time for your opponents to get over. But again, it's relying on your opponent not having the spawn right next to you and not immediately scouting this direction. So, rather risky. I highly suggest the first path because you get as much mining time as you can out of your moms and it's more difficult for your opponents to harass. Because you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 relatively safe moms. This mom is vulnerable up here. This mom is vulnerable to anything coming from the middle, but you're able to run across a cliff or a bush really quickly, so it's okay. And of course, this mom is vulnerable, but there's this immediate cliff. Just what I recommend. And then at any point in the game, if you feel like you have map control and you're keeping your opponents contained within their base, not letting them take any of these outer spigots, it's very safe to go to the center. But that's Barca's Bayou. Not a good Goo map. Just lots of wasted mining time. Don't recommend it. But of course, some people just like it, so to each their own. I'm just telling you from my experience how I feel about these maps. Alright, so hopefully, we're on to Battle Wasteland. Hopefully you have a pretty good understanding of what I mean when I say you gotta maximize your mining time or refining time with your moms between spigots and so on. Let's get to it. I'm just going to make sure I spawn bottom side, because why not? Now on this map, there are technically 3 paths, but there's only one good one again. And again, the third one I suggest you don't take. So we'll start off with the good path, the easy path. Alright, so these are relatively close to the same distance, so it doesn't really matter which one you go for. I believe that this spigot is slightly closer, but again, it doesn't particularly matter. So this is a really good distance for a new mom to come out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tell this mom to immediately go over here to the second spigot. So that way when the new mom comes out, she immediately goes to this spigot. And you can cut it a lot closer to get better mining time, but that takes practice. So this mom, because she went 1, 2, 3, still has a lot of unrefined resources, so she can immediately move over. I'm going to have this mom wait. right here, so she's just within the spigot. And then as soon as she collects, move over. There you go. And now she has a lot of unrefined catalyst. And this mom is going to collect too. And immediately goes straight up to this side here. It can be a little greedy to position your moms aggressively on these spigots. So it depends on your playstyle and play preference. Or you can always stop on these 4 spigots because they're much easier to defend. Because there's a bush here, cliff. And on this cliff, big bush. So pretty safe. Now, this mom can go straight up, but I do believe it's a little bit better to collect one more time and go straight up. Now what I'm going to do, because I have, this is awkward timing now, but I'm going to have this mom go straight back here so she can immediately farm up. And this mom is going to, because she has unrefined, and maybe the spigot timing isn't great, but because she has unrefined catalyst, she's actually going to go to the new one and have this new mom wait at the old one. And again, we're going to set up control path with Shift D, right click. There you go. And now we have 4 moms sitting pretty. Can't really go out much farther. You can have this mom go down here for a new mom. This one is really vulnerable. I don't recommend it, but if you have nowhere else to go, you can. This is just the aggressive path right here where I'm going. Again, you don't have to go for the aggressive path on this route. You can always stop where there are these 4 spigots. You can always go for these 2, but they're very vulnerable because this is very open, long distance to this bush. This has a 1 bush, but it's a large bush, so it's very easy for your opponents to harass you if they can micro their units properly. This is my preferred path on this map. I like positioning myself aggressively, so I am able to harass my opponents from whatever angle they might be going for. But that is the first path, in my opinion, the best path. Now let's go ahead and take a look. Hello. Yep, we're making a Goo Mom Path guide, Frizz. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the second Goo path. There you go. Make sure we spawn in the bottom again because it's symmetrical, so it's the same path whichever side you're on. So for the second path, I would say it's a little bit safer, but it's harder to get a good mom count. So we're actually going to go for the right spigot every time when we go this path, because we're going to cut across and go straight left for these bushes. Now this path is far less predictable, so it can actually buy you a little bit of time, but you'll lose some mom refining time. So this mom actually needs to go back. And I'm going to angle down a little bit so it'll clip this spigot and immediately, to save time, goes towards the other spigot, right? That's it. This one's going to go straight across. And there you go. And once she has this one, I'm going to actually have the path back. This mom's going to begin cutting across. Wait for it. There you go. Now she has quite a bit of unrefined catalyst, so she's going to go here. Now this is totally open, but that's okay because you need 3 moms. You cannot You cannot play the Goo without getting to 3 moms. There's just no way. Good job, Frizz. I'm proud of you. So once she's here, I'm actually going to have her go straight all the way across to the top. Now this is a cliff, worth mentioning. Small cliff, so your opponent can actually lock you out, but it's okay. And then we're going to have a new mom immediately go back down. And this one is going to have the rally point set right outside of the spigot. And there you go. Just like that. We're on 4 moms. And this is a super secret path. Problem with super secret path, you're very vulnerable. Units can run across here. Right? And if your opponent gets control of this bush, or this bush down here, it's very difficult for your moms to push them out because of the size of the bush. And if you're not paying attention, you might not notice right away if they're shooting you from the bush. So it can be really difficult, but this is also the best path to catch your opponents off guard. Because what you do is you have all of your moms rally their units all the way up here, and then you morph them right around here and walk them in to the back here. Usually you can catch maybe a Shroud Extractor, or you can walk in and catch a better refinery, because their units are all over here looking for you, because this is where you are. This is where Goo always goes, because it's the best path. But if you time it right, you can get 6 or so Striders. Maybe you just stick to 3 moms and just get a bunch of Striders up here, cut off, catch something, that kind of thing. Yeah, you're right, Frizz. That is absolutely correct. But this is the second path, a bit sneaker, because nobody ever goes this way for good reason. You lose a little bit of mining time, and you lose a little bit of mining time down in this bottom cliff, and it's just very vulnerable to attack. Now we're going to go to the third path for Battle Wasteland, my least favorite. I haven't really practiced this one at all, so we'll see how it goes. Shroud just has Mimic Scout, and since there's no optimal way to scout the right side without pulling Mom on the cliff, because I already scouted the way towards my base, right flank away from there. Yep, that makes sense. I'm with you there, Frizz. And here we're gonna go straight down here. Gonna collect this one. And yeah, we'll just do it this way. Like I said, I'm not practiced. So I select the new mom because the quick script automatically selects it for you. And then I'm going to go straight up to this spigot. This mom's going to go back and forth between these two because it's much safer than these two out here. Now, because of how close these spigots are, I should mention, you have to patrol right outside like this or so. Right around here. It takes practice, but... This mom loses time, but she goes to this spigot. And then she can immediately path towards this one. Now, you can't patrol between these two because they're a little too far apart. But this is a good way to get a sneaky mom going, like on Barca's Bayou. Actually, is this close enough? Maybe just barely. But once this mom has enough resources herself, she can always path up to the right. She can stick around to the middle here, whatever you prefer. I would suggest the right, even though that's where the scouts are. It's also the safest, because this is very vulnerable. Oh, would you look at that? You can patrol between these two. Just barely. Triangle patrol? Do you mean like this? Yeah, you could do that. You can do a triangle patrol. That works. Whatever you prefer. But yeah, then this mom can always go up here, or she can go down here to the center again if you want to keep your moms closer together. I don't like going for this center area because again, it's very vulnerable. This is a large cliff, but your mom will lose a lot of mining time, and this is very open. So if a mom gets stuck here, right? She is not leaving. She has no safe way to get out. She can hide for a while, but if she's not harvesting any catalyst, she's not doing anything. And it's very easy for a human or beta player to get an air unit. So you just sit in this bush forever and just kind of wait. Yeah, so this is the third path on Battle Wasteland. Not much to say about this one. Pretty simple pathing. This map is okay for Goo. The only thing that I would worry about is your opponent being able to hold multiple extractors very easily. But that's a video for another time. Ah, yeah, Crystalline Crag. Here we go. I would frizz, but that's like a different kind of video, I believe. I think that would be better off in a specific matchup kind of video. This is just for mom paths and which way they would go and why. Because I'm doing all of the maps, I don't want it to be a 3-hour video. Are you saying like which matchups it would be best to use these paths? I could try to do that, but I do believe that on the first two maps, it doesn't matter. You just go for whichever path you want on any matchup, right? Like on Battle Wasteland, you pretty much always go for the right because it's the most aggressive path. So it's good against Shroud or Human or Beta to try and get them stuck in. Yeah, I believe in that too, but on Barca's Bayou, for example, there's no really good clear-cut path. It doesn't really matter because it's a 4-player map and you just have to go for the most efficient path if you don't know where they are. Now on Battle Wasteland, you can go for the left to get something snuck in against a human or beta player. So you go to these spigots here and then sneak around. On the right, you can go and just get yourself a good macro setup. So you have moms, potentially 5 moms. And that's a really good mid-game position to sit in because this is much more easily defendable with these cliffs here and this big bush. Barca's isn't a map. Well, some people like it first, so I went over it anyway. But yeah, I think Battle Wasteland isn't really a map you can really think about that kind of thing. Now, Crystalline Crag is... Okay, here we go. Now this map is not good for Goo at all because of the lack of bushes, and every other race is able to take advantage of the map in a way much better than you are. Now it might seem like it's decent just because of the way it's laid out with cliffs next to spigots. But because of walling, it's much more difficult. Like, this is a wall with a couple of breaks where you see the texture here. Where the spigots are. So you have a mom sit here on the spigot, your opponent sees it, and they just get stuck on this cliff. They get stuck on this cliff. You can have a mom go up here, we'll get into that, but either way, human players are able to easily turtle here. So are Shroud players, they just place aversion fields on these ramps in the back, these holes, and they just park their army here where the big hole is. But we'll go over pathing anyway. Yeah, but Frizz, I gotta show it anyway. This is the only close spigot, so you have to go here. And this really sucks. Now we're going to the only other spigot, because that's the next closest one, or maybe that one, but it's way too far. So on any path you take, you always go this direction. You always want your scout to go that way, by the way. This mom has to go back. You could have it go straight up, but I always go back, just in case. Just to be safe. And then you can have the mom either go left, or you can go up. Now, my scout didn't see their scout, so I know it's safe to go left, so I'll go left, because it's much more resource rich. And then this mom can just follow the same path. This is path 1, and I can actually demonstrate path 2, even though I'm not going it, because this mom can just go it now. So she picks up this spigot, and then we'll pretend this is the first mom, because it doesn't really matter where this mom goes from here. She can go down here or up between these two spigots and do a slight patrol. Now this mom, if we're going to go the second path, is going to go directly up to the right. And we are gonna go follow this path straight between these two spigots up to these two. Now, because we went back for the initial spigot, this mom is gonna have enough money to make a mom as soon as she gets up here. So we're gonna rally right there. There you go. Boom. Because we went back with the first mom, she's able to go back and immediately start harvesting with a little bit of lost time, but that's okay, because I paused for a minute down here. And then you can have two moms sit here, or you can have one mom patrol between these, whatever you prefer. Gosh, yeah, there's 4 spigots in the middle. You can absolutely go for it, but I highly recommend you just control of your corner here, because it's much easier to defend. And if a mom gets stuck out here, she's dead, because there's no bush, there's only cliff, and your opponent gets 1 air unit out, and any mom in the center is just done for. You can't. You could try to hold these chokes, but early game, Goo needs a moment to kind of collect themselves, so to speak. So I recommend avoiding the center early. Maybe mid-game, if you're expanding, you can go like take this one if you're in the bottom right corner. But I don't recommend it. I recommend just controlling your half of the map. So you take all of these, maybe one side. If your opponent spawned up here somewhere, you just control the bottom half of the map, because it's much easier to control this high ground, these choke points, and this high ground. Crystalline Crag, not a good map for Go. Just because of the fact that there's no bush. And let's go to Deserted Isle, the updated one. Do we do Discovered Plains? I don't know, what do you guys think? This is really never played. We're gonna skip Discovered Plains because this map is never played and it's just not balanced. So we can skip it. Deserted Isle Tournament Edition. This map is weird, but it's really good for Goo. Yeah, I'm covering pretty much all of the maps in this one. Just I'm not going to go over the ones that just aren't played. All right. So in this map, it's not really as much there are good paths to take as it is there are just good positions to be in, right? I don't know how else to describe it. Because your spigots, if you can see in the minimap, are here, 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 and here. And these 6 spigots are enough to get your economy going, and you don't have to go anywhere. Because there are rocks here, so your opponent can't run down the middle. They have to go around either side, which makes it super defendable. So I would actually say that this is a Goo favored map in any matchup. Now, if you need to expand past 6 mobs, you can control this top cliff, this top corner, where there is cliff, defendable, large bushes, where you can just park your army or drovers. Yeah, super easy to hold. Whereas this bottom half, really large bushes. Because of the size of the bushes, it's not as defendable as you would think. So despite there being 2 spigots here, I recommend avoiding this corner if you can help it. But I have gone there a couple times myself. So let's take a look here. This path is pretty universal. I don't think you should go for a different path. But I'll demonstrate all the different paths. So there's basically 2. One where you sit in the main base, 2 where you just go for the corner. I recommend the one where you sit in the main base because you don't lose mobs mining time. So again, closest spigot. Just going for it. Gonna move immediately down once we've collected to build up our catalyst supply to refine it. Boom, there you go. Now we're actually going to get as close as we can to this spigot because it's the next closest. And at 37 I'm going to click. And there you go. I clicked right as the new mom came out, so she's losing as little mining time as possible. And this one's getting some. And then, because she has a little bit left, I can actually still path back. Now watch this. This is crazy. So this, I'm going to position as far over as we can. This bomb is going to go down here and move up. And as soon as he collects it, or she, sorry, we're going to patrol at max, and they're going to gain some. And this one, you can patrol it right on top of where the spigot lines are, and she will continue to gain some. Oh, that's not efficient. Let's try again. I have to do it at like the maximum possible for this one. There you go. So now if you take a look, we're building it. Now, because we want to min-max it, and this one is about to finish, we're actually going to tell this bomb to go right around this spigot. And there you go. That way, that mom is immediately farming, and this mom can go to between these two. And this mom's going to do the same thing. Tells that one to go down there. There you go. Look at that. Suddenly we're on 4 moms. 1 mom didn't miss a beat. Didn't miss a beat. Didn't miss a beat. Didn't miss a beat. We have 2 patrolling. So now because these moms are sitting here, they can't really go out much. This mom has enough to where she can actually go here if we need her to. This mom is going to build up enough to where she can go to these corners if we need her to. There you go. This is Deserted Island in a nutshell. You really don't want to go for a different path. There is a path you can do where I'm not going to demonstrate it, but you can go straight to this spigot, straight down, and then once you collect the 3rd one, you go up, tell the new mom to sit on these spigots, and your old mom will collect both of these and go straight up to the corner. Now, I don't recommend that build because your mom is going to be vulnerable running up, and if she's scouted running up to that position, there's not much you can do to defend her. Of course, you can always try to do the same thing for the other side of the map. This one is a little bit closer, so you can get away with going 1, 2, 3 to hit that spigot, and then have your mom immediately go here. And the second mom will spawn, and you can have her wait at this spigot, or just immediately move up. But yeah, this map is pretty easy for Goo Paths and very strong, because if you look, bush, bush, cliff, 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 open, open, cliff, cliff. And this cliff is huge, so it's very difficult for an army to route around it and try to stop your moms. One thing you can do that's a little cheeky is you can trick your opponent into thinking that this mom is going this way if they haven't scouted up here yet. So army shows up here, you move this mom straight across, this mom straight over, and this mom can go straight up, or you can move it down. So your opponent thinks, hey, they saw their mom go towards this spigot, so they immediately run over to stop it. And then this mom picks up the spigot and just goes back down. And you can see the army over the cliff here. Now, of course, if they decide to run straight towards your main, you can just route up, have a mom here and a mom here. And then if your opponent decides to sit on this spigot, you just ignore it. Right? You just leave it. Super cool. Super fun. Yeah. I really like this map. It's so good for Goo. Alright, where are we going? We did Deserted Isle, Edge of Winter, Tournament Edition. This one has probably the most paths that we can look at. I think it's, I guess it's just 3. But I will show you the path that this map is notorious for first. Now this path is the most aggressive path you can take. It really feels like on this map, no matter where you go or what you do, a scout's going to get some harass off on your mom. But it's just the nature of this map, I suppose, because there's so many open areas. Now, worth mentioning, this center area is 1, 2, 3, 4 spigots. So this is juicy. Goo really wants this center area because there's a massive cliff dividing all 4. So of course, you're going to go for the corner. Let's demonstrate this really aggressive path we can do on this map. And we're going to lose mining time, but we go straight up to the middle. Now if a scout knows about this, they'll go here and immediately start hitting your mobs. But again, there's not much you can do about it. So it's perfectly acceptable. New mom goes up to the other spigot. Now, what's so great about this path? Because we're losing so much mining time, Hellfire. Um, it doesn't matter because this path is right next to your opponent's base. No. So what we do is we patrol between these three spigots, or these four spigots with these two moms, and we just send the small proteins out as quickly as we can. Now, what I just showed you goes against everything I've told you so far, but this is a very unique map where there's a very aggressive option. So we wait for the small protein to cross the cliff, and we rally the unit and it's down. Now, this is before 2 minutes. We have 4 striders at the enemy's base. That's really fast. That is really fast. This strategy is especially good against a Shroud player, because Shroud is rather weak in the early game, and they need time to establish themselves. So yeah, and then of course, if for whatever reason you're unable to beat them here, you just try to contain them and go to 4 moms. Now from the center, you can go straight left here to these 3 spigots. So this one first, second, third. Mom goes here, then here, then here. You could always just have one mom patrol between these 2. Or the right side, same thing. That's just from the center. Now, when we spawn, we can have a mom go straight down here, and you'll have both moms on this corner. This is ideally the safest route, but I don't like taking it because then any future moms have a very hard time with a long distance and being very vulnerable to getting any new spigots. So this is like probably the worst option in my opinion, but the safest. Now you can always go here, then straight up here, and right around the time your mom gets here, they'll leave, so they'll be here or here, and you just have to have the new mom sit here, and wait for the new spigot. And then the new mom sits here and waits for the new spigot. The old mom will go between these 2, and then eventually send a new mom up here. This is the best economic play you can do, is to go for this corner with the 2 bushes. And again, it's symmetrical. So, yeah. Oh, Mermix here. It's fine. This used to be the most heavily Goo favored map in the pool before they removed the rocks that were blocking this whole area here. But now that a scout can get in and see the moms in the center, it's pretty not great for Goo. It's okay against beta. Human players are especially strong on this map because they can rather easily hold these side positions just by making conduits go across and building turrets. So the only thing you can do, right, after you've survived against human early game is to try and contain them on these 3 center refineries that they can hold. Just hold them out there as long as you can and until you can get Destructor upgrade. Destructor Contagious Goo with like 6 or 7 mobs. I'm not even kidding. It's really difficult. But okay. That was Winter's Edge. And then Edge of Winter. We're not going to do this because it's a 2v2 map. I'm not doing Grotto of Assault. We can do Hunter's Valley. I'm skipping maps that just aren't really played in 1v1. Idle bottom. Okay. So, this map is heavily Goo favored because of the number of spigots and cliffs. So there's a spigot, 3 spigots in the main, and of course a river. So it makes it very good for other races because of the river in their spawn. Excuse me, sorry. Oh, they're reworking this? Then is it even worth me doing a video on? What's taking so long for these reworks, man? It felt like a couple of tournament edition maps were pumped out like nobody's business, and then suddenly nothing. Alright, well, in that case, I suppose we don't have to. We don't have to do it. Let's see. We're not doing the Polar Field because it's more of a 2v2 map. And it's just not a very good competitive map. Lol. Hey. That's a fun one. Alright, we can do Scarred Plateau. And we're actually running out of maps. Only like 5 or so left. Here we go. This map is very bad for Goo. Because there's only one path Goo can take realistically. We can spawn here, I guess. No, we've been spawning bottom right. Let's do bottom right. Get out of here. Alright, so you go for the closest spigot, and then you immediately path to the next closest, because we need to get that first mom out as soon as possible. So I'm actually going to click right on the center because of the distance. I want to get that spigot as fast as I can. And then once we have that spigot, we're going to, excuse me, we go to the center bottom cliff. New mom goes back. Old mom goes to the center area because we're going to collect double spigot here. And new mom is actually going to mimic us. New mom is going to go there, there. And you can have a mom patrol between here if you would like. Entirely up to you. Because these 3 spigots right here are generally the safest ones. I don't like going on these side ones because it's easily cut off. And of course you only go for this third one if you have 2 in the bottom here. But we're actually going to go straight to the middle. Because once again we have a map with 4 spigots in the middle. We're running it down the middle. Running it down, running it down. Yeah, there's not much you can do, honestly. I always have my I always go straight to 4 moms in the middle here. So again, I'm gonna rally the new mom so she gets maximum mining time. By getting the spigot as soon as it comes up. And then we're going to have this mom go straight here. Yep, to get to 4. Now, Of course, if you wanted to, yeah, there you go. Of course, if you wanted to, it's totally understandable to just do the initial thing I did with the second mom to go back, and then just sit in the center area to try and get to 5 moms. Totally understandable. However, this center area has lots of small bushes and cliffs. You're like, hey, what if they just park like units up here and start shooting my moms? If your mom sits here, they can't reach it unless they have artillery. And if they have artillery, you just walk away and then you go down here. It's not that big of a deal. This middle is like the only thing that makes this map playable for Go. You cannot go to the right because there's 1, 2, 3 very long distance spigots. This spigot is relatively safe because of the small bush and cliff. This one isn't safe because you just have a couple of cliffs you can run over and then not really hide over. But yeah, this center area is where you want to be if you're not in the center, or this top bottom center area is where you want to be if you can't control the center. The second mom running back? You don't like it? Yeah, it's definitely vulnerable to harass, but you've got to get go replay. Did you have a replay you wanted to look at? I can look at it with you when I'm done with this video. But yeah, Frizz, you just have to go back if you're going to get maximum mining time. Like, it's just a risk you have to take. You still get the same amount of resources going back. You mean just sitting on that spigot? Yeah, I suppose you could do that. That makes sense. You could always just sit on the spigot as well. I don't know why I thought you could build a little bit of catalyst, but you're right. It doesn't make sense. You just sit on that spigot and wait. That was my bad. So on this one, the second mom doesn't go back. She just sits there. That's totally fine because the spigot will come up at the same time she gets there, so there's no difference. You just need to be closer. Big sad. Where was I? We just did Garden Plateau, so we're on to Secret Gardens. Oh man, is this one complex? Oh, this one's really complex. Okay. Alright, I have to create a match. Haha. So on this map, there are spigots everywhere. You can go wherever you want. And it might seem like I'm exaggerating, but you really can. Honestly, Frizz, I think Secret Gardens is favored for Goo. like really heavily. Like it's totally fine. Um, Matchup dependent, sure, it can be. Um, but it's just good to get this in, I think. Now, here's the path I always take. So this area is open, so I don't like having my mom run here. I'm gonna run down, start left, go down, and then immediately right, because there's rocks blocking this path. Why do we do that? Scouts have to scout your main base to see if you're going to sit in this corner or not. They have to, because if you sit in this corner and you're allowed to farm for free without getting any harass, it's very easy for you to just exist without being touched. All right, and then from here, there are 2 paths you could take. This mom is going to go up and then back. This mom can go right and up, or straight up the middle here. I strongly prefer going right, because it's more than likely you'll run into the scout in this direction. Because the scout knows you're not over here, because they see the spigot before they get into the base. And then once this mom has collected this spigot, she's going to go here, and this mom is going to go straight up. Now, you can have the mom go here, or here. Just doesn't really matter. This one's safer because there's a wall here. I prefer going up here because I like having vision. And then, for example, you can go up here. Now from here, this mom can go right or left. Now going right kind of puts you towards the enemy base, but they never scout here, actually. It's hilarious. You're very safe here. If you want, this mom can actually wrap around the whole base. It's another path. If you're confident and you know where the scout is, it really doesn't matter where you go. You can literally go wherever you want. Now, just for example, we'll go back down. Because look, the whole time I'm moving these bombs wherever I want, I'm actually just building my resource reserve. I would make moms, but it doesn't particularly matter where you put your moms because they can go wherever they want. Now you can go towards the middle. I don't recommend the middle because it is where you're the most vulnerable. There's just this massive open area all around the middle. So I actually avoid the middle as best I can when I play on this map. But for the sake of example, I'll show you. So, where do you want to sit, right? Once you have your mobs. It's once the enemy scout is left, it's perfectly reasonable to put 2 mobs here. Because your opponent's unlikely to scout here again. You can have your mom sit right here, right outside the base. I like having my mom here because of this massive cliff. It's very safe. And here. Now, here is rather vulnerable to harass, because if your opponent gains control of this choke, your mom has to run away and she has nowhere to run, so she'll take harass if she goes up here and around. But yeah, this map is very small if you haven't noticed. So aggressive plays are better. I highly recommend going to 3 moms on this map, just because your opponent's likely going to be going an aggressive build themselves. Oh man, we got a bot. Cool. Let's see. Report for. And we're going to ban. Here you go. Oh, sorry, Frizz. I'll give you a sword for the next one, okay? Here you go. All right. I love playing on this map, though. You can go wherever you want, do whatever you want, and you can really think outside the box with mom pathing. Alright. Let's see. What's our next map? Where was I? Getting towards the bottom, right? Please tell me this is a map they're reworking. It is, right? So, I don't have to do it, right? Right? Alright, no problem. We will not touch this one. Sweet. That was a little funsies. Urban Assault? I think I skip Urban Assault. We're gonna skip Volcano because it's not really played. I get a World Tree. You want me to do Volcano? You think we're gonna play Volcano in tournament? You do love your Volcano. It's not a good Go map anyway. I mean, you'll probably be banning it if you're in the tournament, right? Alright, World Tree. This map is probably one of the more balanced maps we have in the pool right now, honestly. Which is pretty crazy because it's super weird. So, this map has two directions you can go in. You can go through the top side through this river. And this is the more aggressive path that gets scouted like 70% of the time. Or you can go through this bottom half, across the large cliffs, or across these little buildings down here. This map has some really, a really fun little tech you can do as a Go player. So there's two directions you can go in actually when you first start. So, I'll go with the macro open you can go. But I want to reference and preface that I hate splitting moms because it's very difficult to defend both moms. But it can be very good on this map because of your opponent having a hard time harassing moms on either side. So, we're going to go ahead and demonstrate this. For the macro play, you go for the back spigot and move up. For the aggressive play, you go for the front spigot and go across these spigots at the top. So we're going to collect that. And this mom is actually going to go a weird path. You kind of go towards the middle of nowhere. New mom goes up, old mom goes down. So from here, this mom can go up. This mom can go down in between these two. And this mom can patrol between this if she wants, or she can go straight left, or she can go straight up. Now, straight left is one spigot with a very defendable cliff and bush, but you can't go anywhere else, so it's kind of a weird place to send your first early mom, because you can't really expand from it. And from here, there is a couple of spigots, and at the bottom, there's these two you can patrol between, or you can actually patrol between these rocks right here. And then there you go. This mom now has 3 spigots. This is actually rather difficult to defend, despite this rock being a cliff that you have to climb over. This bush is very large, and so any units parked in it will stop your moms from being able to do hardly anything. But again, here's what we're going to do. We're going to set a rally point for this spigot right as the mom is ready to come out and move this mom away from it. We're going to do the same thing for this one. And right before it comes out, click away, press E. There you go. New moms. You can have moms patrol between these buildings at maximum range. Clickety click. And this is all the same because again it is symmetrical straight down the middle. So it is exactly the same. But there you go. That's the macro opening I can go for on this map. You can have your initial mom. You can have your moms always retreat down this path, relatively safely actually. Because once, like, you've been poked at right here, this mom will be vulnerable and you can never move down and around and potentially hide up on this cliff. Well, this mom can slink away and patrol between these rocks and be okay. Ideally, if this mom can get away, you want her to just path straight towards this corner. Makes it very difficult for your opponent to harass you because of the position of these random cliffs. But yeah, worth noting, there are very few points that your opponents can actually get in. So it's very easy to just position yourself, like rally your units into any of these bushes. To, for example, for these four, you can rally units into this bush and just have units waiting at the bottoms of these cliffs for potential side harass. Very difficult for your opponents to get in. You could always control these spigots and potentially these and just park your army here because your opponent's not going to very easily be able to move through here and up this ramp. But yeah, this is what I believe to be a relatively balanced map because it's not great for Goo, it's not bad for Goo, but it is a very fun map.
Eliminated.
There you go. And that was World Tree. I think we only have Ziggurat left. And Ziggurat is another one of those maps that has some really flexible pathing choices. So, I'm going to spawn in this corner. And let's see. Alright, so in this map, we have two spigots here in the corner. That's not a spigot anymore. The spigot is actually now right here underneath this bush. The texture wasn't updated, but that's okay. So we have these two and a spigot here. So what you would like to do is wrap around, and from here, you can go straight up the left, straight up the middle across this cliff, and potentially expanding to the center area that's very resource rich, a little vulnerable, but it's up a hill. Or you can go down here to where this really safe expansion is because of the sizable cliff and bush next to it, and potentially expand downward and around. Or, yeah, first path up and around, second path towards the middle, third path down and around. So very flexible. But let's go ahead and demonstrate what it looks like when you're going for the center path. This is the closest spigot, awkwardly enough. And immediately path up. And collect this one. We're actually gonna have this mom wait right here. Because we have to have a little bit of money collected in order to go anywhere. Now, you can potentially go back after collecting the first one, but it would leave you weak to some scout harass. And you want to get to the center as quickly as possible without getting scouted. So I recommend at the beginning of the game sending your scout straight up to see if their scout is there. There you go. And now we're in the center. Worth noting about the center is that it might force you to make an early small protein, so it's harder to get to 4 moms because a lot of players will scout vertically. So they'll scout, like, for example, I would scout this top because it's vertical from me, and then they'll go to the center. But yeah, this is, of course, the ideal place for Goo to be if they can control the map. By control the map, I mean keep your opponent's army down and keep them contained within their base, because it's very easy to go to 8 mobs and just hold the center area. But the other path, you go straight here, up to this, and then around like you would at your spawn. Kind of a longer distance here, so you have to make sure you have some catalyst built up before you go to the center and then up. This one is also kind of the same story. This is not realistically a path you can go without losing mining time. So you have to go up. So first mom here, second mom here, third mom here, and then, first mom here, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then straight here instead of straight up. This is a little bit safer if your opponent didn't spawn on the right, but of course you have to scout vertically on this map, so it's kind of a risk, but that's alright, we like taking risks. We're going to go, then you can go here, very vulnerable position for a mom. There's a cliff here, but it's not the best. But yeah, and then of course you would then expand as you would in your own natural base, because it's symmetrical. There you go. Ziggurat, a little complex, might take some practice compared to the other maps, but really fun path. There you go. But yeah, that is gonna wrap it up for our Goo Path video. We went over all of the realistically playable maps, which isn't many, I know, but hopefully this gives you a good understanding. That was weird. Hopefully this gives you a good understanding of what you're looking for when you are playing the Goo faction or against the Goo faction. And as always, be sure to subscribe, join the Discord, which I can put in the video description, and thank you for your time.